Hey there, friends. I may have been a little bit too easy and a little too kind on Liberty Gun Safe yesterday. Charlie Kirk put out a post yesterday, did some very fine investigative journalism on this, and hopefully a lot of the gun guys are going to be sharing what Charlie ran across. Liberty Gun Safe was sold to Monomoy Capital Partners in 2021. This is a liberal East Coast investment firm. He pulled the FEC reports on the company and found approximately $400,000 over the last 10 cycles of max donations to Democrats like Raphael Warnock. That's that radical wacko who just won senatorial campaign in Georgia. John Fetterman, that's the potato up in Pennsylvania. Mandela Barnes, another nut job. Mark Kelly, directly tied to anti-gun movements and gun control. His wife is Gabby Giffords, who owns the Giffords for whatever crazy town, I don't know what their name is, but anyway, an anti-gun organization. So this guy is giving money to a guy like Mark Kelly, who is directly tied to and associated with anti-gun movements, who are actively pursuing the elimination of Second Amendment rights across this entire country. Liberty Safe's current CEO, Justin Hillenbrand, was a founding partner of Monomoy and donated $4,600 to Obama for America. Cracks me up when there's something called Obama for America. This is the guy who never was for America. If you remember, he wanted to fundamentally change America. Now you can see right here all the money that went out to all of these people. Mark Kelly, you can see him at the very bottom, but these are anti-gun people that this guy was sending money to. And the company, not just the guy, I'm okay with the individual person of a particular company having a different opinion as the company, but the company itself was making these donations to anti-gun organizations. I want you to remember, this is a company who gets money from you for their gun safe and uses a portion of that money to send to anti-gun people who are trying to take your Second Amendment rights away. Let that sink in. Now, I pulled up the other list of companies out there that Monomoy actually had besides Liberty Safe. I don't recognize any of these as anything that you and I would normally use, but be aware that they're out there in the event that you work in a business and you might come across these companies. Their CEO, Justin Hillenbrand, who donated to the Obama campaign, is listed here. He is the CEO of Liberty Safe, and they really like this guy. He seems like a really tough guy. I'm sure he's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is what these guys normally claim to be a student of whenever they pretend to be so tough. So in true crawfishing fashion, crawfishing is a term we use in the South whenever somebody is trying to take back the stupid things that they said. Liberty Gun Safe came out and said, at Liberty Safe, we are dedicated to safeguarding the rights. I'm not going to read all of this because this first part is all blah, blah, blah. We're going to go on to the next page where they say, we listen to our customers and update our products and practices in response to their evolving needs. Today, we're announcing a change that empowers our customers with the greater control over their information effective immediately. Existing customers can visit Liberty Gun Safe and fill out the form to have records of their access codes expunged. In the coming weeks, we'll be releasing a feature that gives every new customer this option when registering their safe. This information allows customers to take control of their information and blah, 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 blah. At the end, we have also revised our policies and around cooperation with law enforcement. Going forward, we'll require a subpoena that legally compels Liberty Safe to supply access codes, but can only do so if these codes still exist in our system. So essentially what they're doing here is saying that we're changing our policy because we realized that we were wrong. The funny thing is they wouldn't be changing this policy if they weren't caught. The massive amount of blowback that they received yesterday is the only reason why you see this post right here. Again, I want to repeat, this policy would not be changed and they would not be saying any of this had they not been caught. It's okay that they did what they did until it got caught in their eyes. That's the way they view this. Now, what they also say is they're going to give you the option to opt out of them having this override code that they gave to the FBI based on a simple warrant that they were not named in. It was just a warrant to this man's property, and they adhered to the warrant and gave them access to this safe using an override code. They are saying that you can opt out of this override code policy that they have and expunge that. In other words, get it out of their system. My first question is, if you're giving somebody the reason to opt out of something, why didn't you give them the reason to opt into something? How can you opt out of something that you never opted into? I also find that they're being a little bit catty with this statement. They're basically saying, hey, We had an opportunity before to save you if you could not get into your safe. But hey, man, if you're going to be a jerk about it, we're going to get rid of these codes and we're not going to help you in the future whenever you can't get into your safe. Just seems a little messy how they do this. Notice they don't ever admit that they did anything wrong, and they don't ever apologize for what they did, this stain on the Second Amendment community that they have perpetrated. What this reminds me of is the guy who beats his wife. The guy beats his wife and then he tells her, "I'm sorry, please don't leave me." These people are telling you, "I'm sorry, please don't leave me," even though they beat their wife figuratively, and they would not have made this change again if they had not been caught beating their wife. Now they're trying to play nice because they've seen this financial hit on their company, on their bottom line, and now they don't want you to leave. Trust me, they don't like you any more today than they did yesterday. They like your money. They despise you because they are giving money to the enemy. They are actively giving money to people who are seeking to take your Second Amendment rights away. I'm going to have to say this again. These people are taking the money of Second Amendment supporters and gun people and using those same dollars to pay anti-gun people to take those very rights away. I have to ask myself, what do they expect people to store in these safes if there's no guns to store that they are actively trying to pay to have taken away? If they were successful in banning AR-15s. We know that the ATF already has an illegal gun registry, meaning they know where over 1 billion records are already of guns out there throughout the country. If they were to pass an AR-15 ban, who these people likely support at Liberty Safe, and the ATF and the FBI requested the records of gun owners and then went to Liberty Safe and said, "I want to match these AR-15 purchases with purchases of Liberty Safes," would Liberty Safe look at that and then give them this override code? My guess is they would, because they would be saying, look, I mean, they're saying that all they need is, let me get the wording of this right. Going forward, they will require a subpoena that legally compels Liberty Safe to supply access codes. So what they're saying is, as long as the ATF provides a subpoena that legally compels Liberty Safe to supply access codes to your personal safe with your AR-15 in it, they'll do it. They are literally giving themselves the outright here to continue to do what they did to Mr. Hughes. Find a better place to spend your money, folks.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America. He's so horrible.